You guys, this is just gonna be for anybody, like, this may or not be interesting, but I want to give a disclaimer. I do not believe that high heels are creating human S trafficking. And I don't see any significant correlations, but I want to talk about the implications, okay? Obviously, I'm a woman, and these are my experiences. Many people are unknowingly putting themselves in congruence with, because here's the thing. We are conditioned that femininity, beauty, and that sexuality is all tied in with a certain aesthetic, a certain look. And over time, I kind of found myself falling into that. And, you know, I'm not perfect, but I really have been focusing on liberating myself from those limiting mindsets, just really wanting to set free into my true essence, sort of like the thumbnail. Maybe it's a little sexy, but it's nothing over the top, but it's fun and free, stylish. What I've learned is to really be my own best friend and to really truly love myself. I kind of had to go against modern day feminism. A lot of it is seemingly backwards. That's sort of like the warning I would give to the younger generations, is the propaganda, like the commercial conditioning of what the society standards are the same principles, the same mindset that creates indoctrinated mental slavery and basically your own exploitation. So to regain liberation, one really has to ask oneself, why are you adhering? Why are you submitting? Basically, why are you putting the high heels on? Because it is all about intention, and it's about how you carry yourself. So the mindset of using high heels to get validation or basically like sexual attention, it really does backfire in the long run, because they are part of an ingrained systematic approach to feminism and to womanhood that, like I said, is seemingly backwards. So we believe we'll gain power, upward mobility in society, and that will basically get the man. But in reality, it's much further than the truth. In my experience, and in many experiences of women that have been around me in my life. The film Pretty Woman was an indicator of the approaching era of mass overhaul, MK Ultra conditioning of our human collective. And it still is used. I saw a gymnast like play a reel of that recently, and it made total sense as to what I was seeing in her content. She herself, along with many other women, watched that movie and believed that the more we overtly pushed our sexuality, we would be protected and provided for. Now, many women are finding out in real life they're not being protected or provided for once they over sexualize themselves and exploit their dignity. The patriarchy is not so giving, not so loving. And in reality, Julia Roberts, the prostitute, she would be ghosted by Richard Gere, who has multiple other options in which he has every intention to explore. This woman would then have to be able to afford her ridiculous life by selling herself to platforms like OF or selling her ass on YouTube here, much like the gymnast. And that's what women don't understand. Even if you marry these men, if you carry yourself in these old ways of behaving, these mindsets, you will attract the type of male who behaves in those roles as well. Oh, they designed the shoe, you know, they wanted us to question our steps and be mistrustful of ourselves and be these dainty little fembots just serving them in our stilettos. And to that, you know, I don't know. All I do know is that it is up to me whether I adhere to those standards, whether I submit. And to regain one's power, to liberate oneself from these limiting systems, is to be able to, you know, sort of try to find a way to justify your actions. What are you doing? You know, why are you putting these uncomfortable, very painful, almost like dangerous types of footwear on to gain validation, get some sort of status? Why are you doing this? And that's what kind of started to disintegrate all of these attachments that I had to wanting to impress. Because when I really thought about it, when I got down to it, when I was wearing my stilettos, my 5-6 inch heels, I wasn't getting the guy. I was being played. It's almost like the more I tried, the less that the men would show up. The programming hit me before I had any idea what was going on this planet. You see, my sister, who was much older than me, was in beauty pageants. Shout out Miss Arizona. She had an array of high-heeled shoes in her closet, and it was just my after-school project to just go in there and literally just fall in love with these shoes. I couldn't wait to be able to fit into them. And at the same time, my mom had this like she still does, like this boutique closet full of all different color flats and kitten heels. So like I would kind of go in between closets, and my mom had a much smaller shoe, so I could fit in the kitten heels when I was younger. And that was sort of my introduction. And I realized how much my inner child longed to go back into that world of being connected to my feet and just being confident to wear the shoes that were, you know, stylish to me. I had my own collection, and it wasn't until way later, some of my subscribers know my journey, you know, like the whole spiritual awakening, the whole deep depression, yada yada. I expanded. My consciousness really sort of started to try to debunk these realities that I was ingrained in. And one of those realities was the high heels. Like, I really had to question myself at that point. The thing is about being honest with oneself is that multiple things can be true. So there is nothing wrong with beautiful fashion, these beautiful high heels, but ask yourself, you know, like, why? And make sure you're in alignment with your purpose, because it is okay if you choose the flats or if you choose those, in my case, the flip-flops. But like, I am gonna put those jelly kitten heels on and I'm gonna rock. And that is when I feel the most aligned with what my soul wants right now. And that is just what I wanted to share with you today. Just make sure you're in alignment with what you truly want for you. Don't try to impress them. They're not gonna pick you. If anything, the one that's gonna marry you is the one that wants to see you barefoot anyway. So here's the thing. Don't give it to them, okay? Do it for you.